Hey, this is Deb Freilich from CoachDebFitness.com. If you're like 80% of adults, you probably suffer from some type of back stiffness or back pain. What I'm going to go through today is a little 5-minute back pain relief routine, little regimen that you can do daily to help minimize that pain or hopefully get rid of that pain. But first we need to get to the root of why you have the pain to begin with. The 3 most common causes for low back pain are excessive low back flexion, or like sitting at a desk for too long where your low back is kind of flexed forward in this position, so it kind of rounds out the natural neutral lumbar curve that you're supposed to have. So that's one cause. The second cause are these guys. Major cause for low back pain are tight hip flexors. The hip flexor group does this with your leg. It brings your knee up and flexes it forward, or it flexes your hip joint. That's what and then the third major cause for low back pain is weakness in the core musculature, both in the front and the back. So how do we get rid of the pain? And what are some good preventative strategies? You want to, first of all, avoid prolonged sitting. So if you sit at a desk, if you have a desk job, you want to try to get up about every hour minimally. Either that or have a stand-up desk like I do, or sit yourself on a stability ball at your desk. This can really help because it forces you to keep that natural lumbar curve. Another way that you can help prevent that low back pain is to improve the muscular endurance and the strength of the muscles in the core. And then thirdly, you want to try to maintain flexibility or try to improve flexibility in those tight areas that we talked about, the hip flexor areas and the tight hips. Here's a little 5-minute routine that you could do to relieve that back pain. The first thing you want to do is a standing hip flexor stretch to try to stretch those muscles out. They get really tight when you sit at your desk all day or sit in the car. Your feet about hips distance apart. You're going to step 1 foot backwards, and you want to come down onto the ball of that foot and just lower your body straight down as if, pretend like you have a string on the top of your head. And then as you do that, you want to try to tighten the butt muscle on the leg that the knee is bending and the knee is pointed towards the ground. That'll help loosen up those muscles on the front part of the hip in the hip flexor group. And if you want to get an added little stretch, if you're a little more advanced, now if you have to hold on to a desk or something to keep your balance, because this might be a little hard to balance, you can do so. Just holding onto the wall, bending slightly that front hip, and then you want to point this back leg towards the back knee towards the ground. Look straight ahead, keep your trunk upright, and just really try to focus on tightening back here so we can loosen up the front part of the hip. So that's the first little exercise you want to do. Each side, hold it for about 20 to 30 seconds, and do each side 1 to 2 times. 2 times will probably be good. Then you want to get down on the floor, and we're going to do a little cat-cow stretch. Try not to think of it so much as a stretch, but as just a mobility thing to try to get your spine to move. So you want to come down on all fours. Keep your head in line with your body so you keep that nice curve that you're supposed to have in your neck and a nice neutral spine. And then you want to just slowly come up into that cat position and blow all the air in and come down into the cow position. So blow all the air out, cat, take a deep breath in, cow, cat, and cow. And do that about 5 to 6 times just to kind of get the spine to move and loosen up. The next exercise is a modified curl-up or a beginner curl-up that Dr. Stuart McGill came up with. He's a big back guy, big back researcher. But anyways, this does not promote any trunk flexion, especially in the low back area. But what it does do is promote some strengthening in this core area right in the middle of our body. So you start out the exercise with your feet bent, both knees are 90 degrees, and then you want to straighten out one leg, place both hands under your lower back in your lumbar area. This will help remind you not to flatten out that low back area and keep that nice curve that we're supposed to maintain, that nice neutral spine. And then So we avoid any neck strain. Place your tongue at the top of your mouth, and then we just want to try to attempt to lift our shoulders up off the ground by rolling up one vertebrae at a time in our middle back area or our thoracic area. So tongue to the roof of your mouth. It's kind of hard to talk while you're doing that, but tongue to the roof of your mouth, and then slowly curl up. Bring those shoulder blades up off the ground, and then slowly come back down. So slowly curl up, and I'm keeping my low back nice and curved, and then come on down. So up and down. And that's all you do. You can do about 3 to 5 each side, and then try it with the other leg bent and the other leg straight. The next exercise you want to do is an exercise to strengthen the oblique muscles and muscles on the side of your core over here. And if you can't do a side bridge on the floor, you can do the modified bridge against the wall. And I'll do it against this wall right here. You want to put your elbows up against the wall to start out, and come up on the toes, on the balls of your feet. So your elbows are about at shoulder height. And then you just want to slowly roll both feet to the side and support your weight with the muscles on your side. And then you can slowly transition and roll the other direction. So you're maintaining a nice neutral spine. Got my nice low back curve. You're just going from one direction to the other. Now, if you're a little more advanced, you can do a side bridge on the floor. First with your knees bent, place your elbow close to your ribs, tighten up your abs, brace those abs, keep your head in line with your body. Then you want to tighten your side and raise your hips up off the ground and maintain a nice straight line. And then the more advanced version would be placing one foot in front of the other and just straighten out your body and hold yourself up like this, avoiding any sagging of the hips here. And if you want, you can brace your shoulder with your other arm, keeping yourself in a nice straight line. So that's the side bridge. You can do the side bridge once or twice each side. And then we want to get into something called the bird dog, which is an excellent exercise for core stabilization and low back stabilization. To start out with the bird dog, you can, if you are just starting out, just raise your arms in front, keeping a nice neutral spine, maintaining a nice flat hips. We don't want to hike our hips up. We're just alternating one arm and then the other arm. Then to make it a little more advanced movement, you can straighten one leg and then the other leg. Always trying to keep those hips pointed towards the ground. Avoid any tipping up of the hips. You should be able to set a cup of coffee right back here on your butt. Well, not really, but your butt should be pointed towards your hips should be pointed towards the ground. And then you can work your way all the way up to the advanced bird dog, well, intermediate bird dog, I should say. One arm and one leg. And then that's it. Quick little 5 exercise stretching and strengthening circuit to relieve that low back pain.